Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, welcome. Glad to have you. We're in a journey, just gardening, all things around outside of Charleston. Today we are going to be out in the Francis Marion National Forest, kind of walking around through the woods. But first we had to stop by the flowing well. We like to come here and get natural water, and it's not artesian. It doesn't have that egg smell or funny taste. It's good clean water. So getting some water right now, filling our jugs up. It's what we use. We drink with it and even do a little bit of cooking with it. So take y'all over here. You see how clear that water was. Let me show you this water. Look how dark that water is. And right now it's almost low tide. Usually all of that over here is all covered in water. Here, woodpecker. And then all that's covered right in there. So, but anyway, we are going to journey and walk in areas of the Francis Marion. Hunting season is here, so we're wearing our orange, so if there's any hunters out there, they'll see us and not mistaken us for deer. So we're out here in the Francis Marion National Forest, and on Facebook there is a lady in Kentucky. She goes by the Appalachia Forager, and she's got me now looking for mushrooms, and I found these. Thought they were pretty neat. I don't know what kind they are. I did take some pictures because I'm gonna do some research on them. But this area, it's a low area. Just kind of give you a little bit of, and that's a hill right there. Just kind of give you a little bit of idea where we're at right now. So we did see some deer tracks, so we know there's, and fresh deer tracks, so we know there's deer around. I don't know if we'll see any today. We're just looking anyway. So anyway, let me get back onto my mushroom hunt.
Good afternoon, everybody. Wanted to bring you out to the forest to show you a bridge that me and my family had built back in the mid to late 90s. I can't remember exactly the year, but it was before my dad passed in 98. Kind of reminds me of the bridge that we just built over at the old place, but this one's probably built a little bit better. Didn't have to use the old poles to do this. We actually had good lumber. What we had done, my dad had kind of did a volunteer project with the U.S. Forest Service and with the state when they were starting to construct the Palmetto Trail, and they supplied us with the lumber, and we took on as a project the building of this bridge. And it was me, my brother, my dad, and both my brother-in-laws that we had got together and built this. We had some of the ladies, our wives, and all help us out a little bit, and so we just made a day project of it. About this time of year, it was actually, we did it like Good Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and good fellowship, good day. We built it all in one day, but like I said, they had supplied all the materials, and we did the construction. Looks like it's held up really well over those 25 plus years, so still holding in there. So that was great. Missed the good times that we had then. Missed my dad in particular, but I'm just really happy that it's still here. We don't come here very often anymore, but it's still here. So, thank you for listening to my little bit of a story. For anybody that's familiar with the Palmetto Trail, it runs from the coast up around where the Buckhaul Plantation is in Allendale, runs all the way to the upstate, up into the Appalachian Mountains. So I'm not sure exactly where it finishes off there, but this is our little portion of it. So thank you. All right, we decided we was going to clean the leaves off, so this is a little addendum to our video. Looks like the bridge is held up pretty well. Looks like they did have to do a replacement in here. I think that's the only board that I see that they've had to replace. So there's the whole thing. Nice good sized bridge. Well, I was able to drive today to the old flowing well, the one that we always used as a kid, the one on Yellow Jacket Road. I was told it's not safe to drink, but I'm not sure of that, and looks clean. Looks as clean as the one at the river. Tastes like I remember it. So that's pretty good stuff. I think I like it. Looks like they've been doing some work to the Yellow Jacket Road. Not really doing any work to get into there, but they've had some real bad holes in it, and it's grown up like I've never seen it in my lifetime. Just everything everywhere. This whole section out here that used to be cut down, people used to picnic here at one point in time, but that's been quite a while. Up here, there's an area where we used to fish, and I don't think it's quite fishable now. So I don't know that I'll be doing that. But anyway, figured I'd show you one of my old haunts. This was the bridge we used to fish at. It has grown up a lot. Used to never be anything in the run of the creek. This is actually the head of the river, the head of the east branch of the Cooper. So this water here at times I know is affected by the tide. I think it's dry enough right now that it's not being touched by the tides, but I know that there are times when it can be. It's not too far from here to the other flowing well and to the that Hugie Creek, which is part of that east branch. So it's probably only a mile away through the woods, so not far. Looking on that side, that creek runs that way. It runs out to 41 that way. Done a lot of deer hunting, done a lot of fishing here, and mainly on this side we would fish for shad in the springtime, and Daddy used to catch a lot of shad in here. They would run up in that east branch of the Cooper River, and they'd run on up in here into these back creeks, and so we'd tear them up. So it's been a long time, but here we go. Hey again. We're now at a spillway that's on the Hellhole Road extension. It's a place we used to fish a lot. Right here, we used to have a bridge that went all across all the way across. Had a spillway here. You can see the spillway is still there. It's still there. I almost fell. The spillway is still there, although it's not maintained now. which is a shame. What they used to do back in the day was they dammed it off and flooded the area back in the back here. Give the ducks an area to hatch and spawn, and and maintain. They could eat and everything out that way. Then when a wetter time came, they would open up the gates and they would let it drain more. Not sure why it's not maintained anymore. I guess the Forest Service just really can't afford to do that anymore, or maybe it's no longer as big of a reason to do that. Not sure of the duck population around these days. I might try to find it out later this year when the duck season opens. But beautiful area, nice open woods here. Beautiful, just calm part of the creek. All this is still kind of part of that headwaters of the east branch of the Cooper River. All this area that we go through is just from Hellhole Swamp right on to the river itself. That's all kind of interconnected. So this area doesn't really get any tidal flow, but it's all just runoff drainage from the swamps and the ponds and the wet areas. So, all right, moving on to the next one. Hi, we are now at what is known as the Old Trunk. The Old Trunk is, you can probably see there's a series of cross logs here. Goes right on, it's 1, 2, 3 there. You can see the remnants of a couple more right in here and over here, all the way down. And what this was, and we believe, because it was called the Old Trunk, and I again don't know where the name originates from, but I know that trunks back during the time when they were doing the rice fields and all in these backwoods, the swamp areas, that's where they would make the dams. They would have water's flowing back towards this way, so they would have a gate on this end and a gate on that end, and when they wanted to flood the area back here, and you can see kind of a lower area back this way, they would open up they would close up the gate on this end and allow the water to start backing up in the creeks, kind of like the Forest Service did with the other place that we were looking at, with that spillway. A little bit different. All this was man-made, hand-done. I'm presuming by slaves back in the, near as I can read and near as I've researched, probably the 1600s, late 1600s, early 1700s. They, from what I read, they did more of these backcountry rice fields in the late 1600s, early 1700s, before they went to the main rivers, because it was a little bit easier to dam off these areas because they were naturally flat. So you could find these areas where they could just block them off and dam it up. But what they end up doing, I think sometime in the mid 1700s, they end up moving out of these areas because of high prevalence of malaria from the mosquitoes. And having grown up in this area, I can tell you, you get a good wet time, you'll be inundated with multiple types of mosquitoes. So from down to the real small, what we always called saltwater mosquitoes, right on up to the big, what we called gallinippers. They were swamp mosquitoes. They were big. They were probably big as the end of my thumb there, and they could bite through. They could bite through most clothes. You'd have to wear something pretty thick to keep them from biting you. But that's, again, presuming that's where this came from. Other theory is around the 1900s, a lot of this land was sold to different timber companies, and they used some of the old banks and dammed areas and things for creek crossings, because they would use tramways to move the timber out of the area. So where maybe this bank here started off as part of that rice field network system, well, maybe at some point they bridged this off, and that's where they would move the trams across to get the timber and move it out of here. In fact, they had actual sawmills scattered throughout the forest here. If I could find one of the old sawdust piles, I'd show you where that's at. I'll have to remember where one's at. But yeah, that back in those times, it was, like I said, late 1800s, early 1900s. A lot of the plantation owners and people that owned larger tracts of land, they were selling out to different timber companies. Tuxbury is one that I remember. I'm not sure of the others. E.P. Burton, I think, was one. And they would build these tramways through the forest and utilize some of the old trunks and bridge crossings or crossings to make for bridges. So that's a little bit of the story. What we did in this area, in the springtime, we would fish for the small, what we called redfin pike. I'm sure they're some type of pickerel. And we would fish for those. In the wintertime, we would end up hunting ducks in this area. So that's how we came to it. And we spent a lot of time here in this general area, not right here at the trunk, but in this general area. All right, thanks for indulging me, taking time. Appreciate it. We are now entering what we always called Jericho, and really what we're on now is part of the Jericho Trail. A lot of people come out here to ride horses and do hiking. Jericho Trail is kind of an extension off the Swamp Fox Trail, the Palmetto Trail. So what's for us was always interesting about Jericho is the huge live oaks in the area. What it appears to be is like an avenue of oaks from where one of the old plantations used to be. I've heard a little bit of story about potentially Ball Plantation, but I'm not sure that that's accurate. But you have some of these oaks that look like they are, I'd say, 400 or 500 years old. They are about as big around as you see anywhere here in the Charleston area. So I would have to guess that they are part of one of the old plantations. Now, which one it is, I have no real clue.
I'll just stand up against this one.
Yeah, give us some perspective on that. So yeah, it's maybe not quite the size of the angel oak, but it's not too far off.
It's huge.
It's a big tree, massive. I have climbed it back in the day when I was still young enough and agile enough to climb. But you have others here, and like I said, it's always been the assumption it was part of one of those avenue of oaks. It's just too many, and they're spaced a little too conveniently for it not to be. So you see the one here, the one there. So an old one here, I think it got broke up pretty bad during Hurricane Hugo, and it's kind of been going away ever since. A couple more of the big ones up here. So yeah, there's plenty. There's one that it also got knocked down during Hugo, and it's pretty much gone away. So it was more of an avenue than we even currently have. I'm pretty sure there was another out beyond here at one point. But like all things,
Go up there.
huh?
See how high they.
Yeah.
Look. So pretty.
It's just a big canopy of these oaks.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd like to know the history.
yeah, I'd love to know the history.
They're so
I see
big.
some more out in the distance over there. And where this trail leads, it's kind of a game field that's maintained by the SCDNR. It's not too far up here, but we used to spend a lot of time out here. I think we even camped out here illegally once back when I was probably 15, 16. Until we figured out, no, we were not supposed to do that. I don't think we built a fire, but we did sleep here in the woods. But we used to always visit out here. It was just such a cool place. I've deer hunted out here, squirrel hunted out here, and just did a lot of hiking. Back when I used to run, I would run through these trails. Now I don't run so much anymore. I still can, I just don't do it. But even away from the big avenue of oaks, there's still some additional oaks back here in the big field. So I don't think they are part of the avenue. I think they're just maybe just here, maybe some of the offspring of the big oaks. Maybe squirrels brought them this far away, but not sure. But all in all, it's a pretty decent, pretty cool place. But again, Jericho Trail. Don't know that there was a Jericho plantation. We just always called it Jericho. And this is the field. Alrighty. Well, I guess at this point we're on to our next adventure.